Hello and good evening, Middleburg. How's it going? We have our masks on. President Cyril Ramaphosa is going to be doing his announcement this evening. Who knows what's coming up? Have you started stockpiling? Do it responsibly, hey? Do it responsibly, but we got to go bottle store hunting. No, I'm kidding. How's it? My name is John Carricker. I'm going to take the mask off so that you can see the smile, and that's Bradley Becker over there. More about him in a moment. Welcome to this virtual town hall in Middleburg to tell you about what's happening. Let's get rid of that. To tell you what's happening at Evotel's rollout of fibre to Middleburg. I have no idea what fibre is. I have no idea how the system works, and we're going to find out a little bit more about that just for you. Remember, very interactive conversation. This is live. We are in Sandton at the moment. In the old days, we would have been in Middleburg with you, but you've got to be too careful. We're social distancing here. Hopefully you're social distancing where you are, and look after yourselves, please. But yeah, we're still going to bring you the information, still going to tell you what's happening. So stay very close for the about next 45 minutes or so, depending on how many questions you have. And that's the important thing with this, the questions. Please, if you have any questions about the fibre rollout to your hood, let us know in the comments below, in the questions, send a text message. You've got all the details there, but in the comments, but if you're watching us on Facebook or you're watching us on YouTube, please get involved in the comments. We've got a couple of fairies that are watching all the details in the background, and they will feed us the questions. And if we can't answer the questions tonight, then we will get to those questions later on. But your questions will be answered tonight. We're going to do our best. I'm John Carricker. I'm going to be hosting the questions, but let me introduce you to our special guest, Bradley Becker. He's Head of Business Development at Evotel, and I'm going to be challenging him with a number of questions about the fibre rollout to Middleburg, and hopefully you're going to challenge me to challenge him as well. So Bradley, first of all, welcome. Thanks very much for coming.
Yeah, thanks, John. Super excited to be doing yet another virtual town hall. Would have loved to be in Middleburg doing this, but at least we get to interact with people thanks to the connectivity. And we're looking forward to bringing that connectivity to Middleburg in the next few weeks.
That's right, we're using Evotel fibre to be able to get this to you. Okay, let's start at the beginning. You maybe are new to Evotel. You've seen the notices on the Facebook. You've seen things happening in your neighborhood. Bradley, let's start right at the beginning. What is Evotel?
Well, first and foremost, Evotel is fibre for everyone. That's our motto. We are fibre to the home network operator that's been in existence since 2015, and we've rolled out various fibre projects to a lot of these secondary cities, and yeah, we've grown substantially over the last 6 years. And essentially we provide a service where we can deliver speeds, anything from a 5 megabits per second line up to a 1 gigabits per second line. So the freedom of choice to choose the right line speed and package for your household is there, and that's essentially who we are. We're there to deliver a stable, uncompromised fibre network to every single home in Middleburg.
I think what's nice about this is we always hear about the big cities getting the technology first, and we're gonna touch on the technology later on. But it's lovely that Middleburg and some of the smaller places that you guys are going to bringing, I don't want to use the word first world technology, bringing state of the art current internet to these little towns so that don't get left behind.
No, 100%. And again, that's our motto, fibre for everyone, and that's the goal. The goal is to go everywhere where everyone else hasn't gone, because everyone deserves the opportunity to be able to grow and deserves good connectivity at affordable prices, and that's who we are. We're there to bring this type of connectivity to all types of secondary cities out there, and Middleburg is the next city that we're building in, and we're excited. We're excited to be that fibre provider that's able to deliver these networks in these other areas.
Okay, on the slide there, the benefits of Evotel fibre. Tell us why we should. What is the difference between fibre and what we currently have, and the 3G and 4G? We're hearing about 5G. What makes it different?
Well, the first benefit of fibre obviously is the speed, the speed in how you can transmit bandwidth from one point to the other. The technology, obviously, is the latest technology. It utilizes glass to transmit data from one point to the other at the speed of light. And as we all know, nothing travels faster than the speed of light. Nothing will ever travel faster than the speed of light. So it's future-proof. We lay the infrastructure, and for the next 20, 30, 40 years, we never ever have to deploy another network there. It's stable, so it replaces your conventional ADSL, which is made from copper, which loses speed at certain distances. You don't have that issue with fiber. So when you have that connectivity in your home, you've got that stable connection. It's never dropping, etc. And then obviously copper is a sought after material in our country, unfortunately, so it gets stolen all the time. And as you can see, some of the competitive FNOs, fiber network operators, are starting to actually replace their ADSL with fiber. So, it is already in motion. Fiber has no street value, so the chances of it getting stolen is almost, zero. It does happen, unfortunately, but he'll steal it once and he'll never steal it again.
Yeah, I guess you think it's valuable, you take it to a place that'll want to buy it.
And
they go, well, we don't want this. And it's okay.
Yeah, 100%. And then obviously the biggest benefit, I think, is also just the opportunity to be able to give back to communities with this connectivity, and then the open access, which I'm sure we'll touch base on, but open access, the freedom of choice, allowing people to choose different packages on our network and being able to just deliver that service without any hiccups at all.
Okay, I want to go back to that slide there with the 4 advantages on the left-hand side of the screen there. The one is low latency gaming. I want to touch on that. But the thing I like particularly about these smaller towns is that home office. I'm seeing lots of stories at the moment about people, because they're working from home now during these lockdown scenarios, that they're wanting to move to smaller towns, which is great.
Yeah.
But now people in smaller towns can do work from home without stressing about things.
No, 100%. And again, that's the whole reason why we want to roll out to these secondary cities, is so that they have the same opportunities as we do, in Johannesburg and Pretoria and all those areas. The fact that you then, can utilize that internet to do everything that you need to from home. You can set up an office, even schooling from home is now a possibility. So yeah, super excited that we're able to deliver a service like this to Middleburg, who's been waiting for a very long time, and the opportunities to do so much with it, with the connectivity.
Okay, you keep talking about open access. You've used that a couple of times. What is an open access network?
Well, I think the best way to describe an open access network is, freedom of choice. And the reason why it's freedom of choice is, we have at the moment roughly around 23 internet service providers on our network, and this grows, month on month. You can see we've got quite a few there already. And this, like I said, changes every single month. Every month we've got local WISPs that onboard with us, like Zonke Wi-Fi specifically, they Middleburg based. So yeah, the beauty is we can onboard as many ISPs or internet service providers as we wish, as long as they've got appetite to deliver an exceptional service to end users. And I think that's also one of the benefits of open access is, these guys know that they're competing against 26, 27 other guys. If they don't give you the service that you're paying for, you're able to switch, you're able to choose the right package for yourself. And we'll help you do that, but the internet service providers will also reach out to you and try and get your service as well.
Okay, so let me try and understand where we are at the moment. You're not a service provider, you're a fiber provider. Explain what the difference is.
So the difference is, we lay the infrastructure, we maintain the infrastructure, we do the installation into the home. So I like to use the analogy is, we lay the highway, and this highway is capable of having thousands and thousands of lanes. The internet service providers will then, provide you with the vehicle, and they'll determine how fast you can drive on that highway, but you never share that lane with anyone. So yeah, essentially they're the ones that would bill you as an end user, they would service you as an end user, they're your first line of support as well, should your line go down. However, we do, stick very close to the internet service providers to ensure that when there are issues that are brought, to our attention, we're responsible for making sure that the uptime of the network is there. So we look after the network, we invest the money in putting the network in the ground, and after the ISPs, start taking over.
All right. You mentioned something called uptime. What's uptime?
Uptime is essentially, the amount of time that we have the network up and running. And every time there's an outage, unforeseen outage, a lot of the times, that does affect your uptime. It's just the amount of time people don't have connectivity, essentially.
What is your current uptime?
99.96%.
All right. It's not bad.
It's not bad. It could be better, which we strive for. But yeah, it's up there. We do pride ourselves on making sure that if you are paying for service and you go down, we are there within 30 minutes to already start looking into why the network is down and making the necessary repair. So we do pride ourselves on that.
Okay, the one thing you mentioned as well with all those service providers is competition.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining things are going to get slightly cheaper because in the old days you had the big blue company that supplied ADSL and that was it, and they charged what they liked.
Yeah.
Then there were 2 or 3 service providers and they're not allowed to talk to each other. We know they did. Now you've got 26 where the one's going to say, well, okay, I'm going to charge X rand. The other guy's going to go, well, I'm going to do X minus 50 cents.
Yeah.
Just to be able to get the business. So savings for me, the consumer.
No, 100%. So you ensure that you're getting the best service at the best price, and guys they'll compete for each other's business. It's a good environment to be in. It creates that very competitive environment, and the end user benefits from it, and so you should. So it's probably going to grow quite a bit, our base of ISPs. But the most important thing is we're onboarding a lot of local ISPs, which is super cool. Those guys have been around the area for a long time. They understand the grounds and the communities. So the possibilities of adding 50 more ISPs in the next year is there. So it becomes even more competitive. So it's always going to be just evolving as we go along. Okay,
so you guys are going to put in this highway. Let's talk about how that's going to work, because I think that's the reason you're probably watching today is how is this going to affect your neighborhood? So let's run through the process where we currently are in Middleburg and when I'll be able to get the super fast internet at home.
Okay, yeah. So first things first is with any project, we start with what we call an expression of interest survey. We utilize our door-to-door teams that will go knock on your door, interact with as many residents as possible, explain why they're there and the reason for the information that we're collecting. During that expression of interest survey, we try and obtain contact details. So when we do have issues with the build, we're able to communicate with the community on various different platforms. That expression of interest survey, obviously, we've already started quite some time ago, and it will carry on. And then step 2, we're doing the virtual town hall, and this is again just so that we can interact with everyone and explain the rollout. And then shortly after that, we don't waste a lot of time after the virtual town hall. We start barricading and we start prepping sites and opening pilot holes. The reason why this is crucial is obviously we've got to make sure a site is safe. We open pilot holes to identify services so that when we do start with the civil work, we minimize the amount of damage possibly caused to water pipes, power cables, etc., because there is that risk. Once all of that's done and we're comfortable, we start obviously trenching, and that is the method that we've chosen in Middleburg, is the conventional trenched method, which means we'll trench on both sides of the sidewalk. We start, the civil work, that usually can take anything to 8 to 12 weeks to just complete civil works, lay the ducts, and then after that we start with reinstatement, where we start reinstating driveways, sidewalks, grass, bushes, etc. And then, once that's complete, we interact with the community again, make sure that we've handled all the snags that were brought to our attention. And once everyone's happy, the fun starts and we actually start installing customers. But that timeline can take anything to 8 to 16 weeks.
All right, that was going to be my next question. From where we are today, step 2, to the final step where I can start playing games, how long does all of that take?
Yeah, roughly 8 to 12 weeks. 8 to 16 weeks. We obviously push to have it a lot sooner, but we also don't want to compromise the network, and we don't want to rush and cause unnecessary damage as well to municipal ground, etc. So we do try and do it as quickly as we can, but we make sure that the integrity of the network is still going to be there once we go live. We don't want to rush the project, and then you've got more downtime than uptime.
Okay, and you lose your 99.96%.
Exactly.
All right, so this is where probably you want to start getting involved, because this is now where I start challenging Brad here, is about these trenches, these holes in the ground. You've got a beautiful verge. How are they going to affect your verge? Remember, leave comments in the comments below, any questions you have. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, how's it if you've just joined us? A reminder that this will remain on the social media as well. It's live now and you can interact with us now, but it will remain on YouTube, it will remain on Facebook as well. So tell your friends, share it with your mates, share it with your friends in Middleburg, put it on the WhatsApp group that you have that Tunny who's always moaning about something, she's wanting to moan about this. share it with her so she can answer some questions as well. So let's get into the tough questions now. Trenching. I have horrible images of water pipes bursting, losing even more electricity.
Yeah.
Tell us about the process and how you trench to lay down these fibers.
So first things first, obviously we're working on municipal ground, which means we have to obtain the relevant permission to be able to open trenches on the sidewalks, because obviously there is utilities and services that already run there. On those way leaves, they will indicate where certain services run, at what depths, etc. However, we do still open pilot holes just to double check. We scan roads and sidewalks to also identify services. And then obviously, during the trenching process, the contractors do take precaution. They don't just swing a pick around and hope that they're going to do a good job. They try and take their time and make sure that the trenches that they are opening, they're not damaging cables, etc. And if it does happen that we do hit a water pipe or a power cable, we do have project managers on site to ensure that these issues are attended to, and they log reference numbers with the municipality to get things repaired. If it's a house feed that we can repair, we would actually go and clamp, because it's normally a 25mm pipe, so we would do that. But essentially we scan and utilize the information that the municipality does give us to try and avoid this as much as we can. But that's also one of the reasons why we do the expression of interest survey, is so that in the case of things like this happening, we have that open line of communication with the community so that you guys can reach out to us if you need any assistance. We create WhatsApp groups so that you're also there. So if you have an issue with getting access to into your property because there's a trench open, we have these WhatsApp groups where you can also reach out to us and we escalate it straight away. So we do try and keep that open line of communication with the community so that we can minimize the disruption of the rollout.
How big is a trench?
So a trench is typically, I'd say, around 350 millimeters wide.
Just over a route.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
And our routes throughout the suburb it changes. So like sometimes we would be trenching a main feeder route that would be around the same width, but it's slightly deeper, around the 900 to 1 meter mark. But throughout the suburb, it's usually 350 millimeters wide, 400 millimeters deep. So most of your main services don't run at those depths. They should run a lot deeper, so like 1.2 meters down. But we have had scenarios where they're a lot higher than they should be. But that's typically the dimensions of the trench that we open. Okay.
You mentioned a little earlier that you do both sides of the road. So you're running a trench on both. Do you do both sides at the same time as you go? And while I'm on that, how often do you go under the road so you get these whole humps that never really get filled correctly?
Again, it's all dependent on the layout of the area. So in some cases you will see us trenching on both sides. Some cases you'll only see us on one side. They do build in blocks. So if that contractor is building one block and another contractor building the block opposite, then you'll see trenching on both sides. The way we cross roads, there's various ways. We could open what we call a road cut, where we cut a portion of the tar away and then we've got to reinstate that tar. There's methods where we mold or drill underneath roads. With driveways, we also sometimes mold, or sometimes we open driveways. So there's various ways. It's all dependent on the types of challenges that we get when we actually start breaking ground. That's when we start having to tweak certain routes or certain methods, etc. But again, for most of the part, we do try and go under the road because from a reinstatement point of view, it's less hassle and it doesn't affect the community. You don't have these trenches in the road where people have to drive over.
I was driving through Sandton, world-class African city today. Yeah. Sorry, I just want to have a little moan. And it must have been years ago that they put something in the road and they have to go around manholes and things, and still your tire gets caught in that line, and this is many years ago. They haven't fixed it up. What I do want to talk about is this, and I mentioned the Tanny earlier. She's got this lovely verge, she's got the flowers, she's made a driveway all beautiful. You're going to come in and just dig this up. Will you put it back the way it was?
No, 100%. I think that's also the whole point of having this open line of communication with the community is, where we have dropped the ball, or the contractors dropped the ball in terms of reinstatement, reach out to us and we'll gladly get the contractor to go out there and reinstate whatever he needs to. Our philosophy is, we're going to leave the suburb back, or put it back to its original condition, if not better. And we 100% challenge the community to challenge us, if we don't live up to that standard. So we are committed to reinstating everything from grass to tar to concrete, no matter the verge, we'll reinstate it. It is a requirement from the municipality, so we do what we call CAC checks, which is a quality check, and the municipality also won't sign off on the project unless everything has been reinstated back to its original condition.
Okay, let's talk about driveways. You mentioned going under roads. How do you repair a driveway? I mean, magic bricks is relatively easy. Put the bricks up, put them back in again. But they're very complicated driveways sometimes.
Yeah, again, it's all dependent on the situation. However, we are committed, no matter what the driveway is, to reinstate it back to its original condition, whether it's paving, whether it's tar, whether it's concrete. You know, in most cases, we do try and mold underneath the driveway just to kind of prevent that type of reinstatement having to take place. But in certain situations where we can't, we will unfortunately have to open the driveway. But again, if it's not reinstated back to its original condition, we do hold the contractors liable, and we'll make sure that contractor goes back there until you are happy.
Okay. Would you be the first point to call then?
100%. So we always encourage community members not to interact directly with the contractors. They have their own project managers, we have our own project managers, but we will always encourage the community to rather escalate it to us so that we can ensure that we drive it with the contractors and they get it resolved. So we always, first point of contact would be us.
All right, social media, phone number, we're going to give that all out there. Definitely. As well. What happens if you're cutting a driveway and somebody's, I don't know, they've just popped out of the shops, now suddenly there's a big hole in their driveway? Yeah,
so again, standard practice is the contractor has to notify the resident that they are going to be opening up the driveway. Again, that doesn't always happen. You're possibly not home when they are opening it. But the contractors would usually trench up until your driveway before they touch it so that you can get in and out. And then when they are going to open up the driveway, they have to have driving grids on hand. So that if they haven't backfilled the trench as yet, they can put those driving grids over so that you can at least enter in and out of your property. But the goal, or the contractor's goal, is to have those driveways opened and closed the same day. Okay. So you'll never have a driveway unless something drastically has happened, but you'll never have a driveway open for longer than a day. It shouldn't be the case. And if that is the case, again, please reach out to us so that we can ensure that the contractors do look after you.
This all sounds wonderful, but how much is this costing me, the resident of Middleburg?
The beauty of that is not a single cent. So Evotel obviously is a private-owned company. We invest our own money in deploying a network like this in areas. And the only time a community member will ever incur costs is if they take up the service, which I really encourage you to do. It will change your life. But that's the only cost to the resident, and that cost comes from the internet service provider. Evotel will never bill you as an end user. It will always come from your internet service provider. So don't ever take or give money to a contractor or to anyone that you see coming to ask for money and saying they represent Evotel. We'll never take money from you. It doesn't cost the community a single cent to deploy the network.
Excuse me. Okay, so you're going to run, I'm trying to understand this in my head, you're going to run this highway we've worked out down the trenches. Does it go to my wall? Does it come inside my house? Where do you finish your bit, and then how do I get the internet into my house?
So we obviously provision fibre for every single home. It's a single home. Yeah, it's a point-to-point solution, and that's why we trench.
Sorry, I want to interrupt you there. Even if I don't want fibre,
correct.
I'm sitting at my house, number 3 Blikkiesdorp Straat, and I don't want fibre, but you're still going to put something outside my house.
No, correct. And this is for future purposes. The beauty and one of the benefits that we didn't speak of with fibre is it increases your property value. So although you don't want the service possibly, or you're never going to want the service, when you sell your house one day, most people nowadays when they're searching for homes, they're making sure that the first thing they look at is it fibre ready? So that's an added benefit for you if you are in the market of selling your house. And then again, so we basically terminate past every single home. We'll install a York box or wall box on the boundary wall. And then when you take up the service, our Evotel installation team will come out and they run the fibre strand from that specific York box on the boundary wall. Mm-hmm. They run it into the house and they connect to an ONT device. So Evotel doesn't stop at just deploying the network on the outside. We also do the installation and the maintenance of the network even inside of your home as well.
Okay. All right. So the box has arrived outside my house. I now want to get to the internet. then phone a service provider. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's various channels that you can follow. Obviously, internet service provider is one of the channels. You can go onto our website, look at the different packages. If you find the package right for you, pick up the phone. You can contact that ISP directly. We have our own internal sales team as well. We have resellers, so you are able to also sign up through them. But I would definitely, encourage you to either interact with us directly, and we'll help you choose the right package. If it's something that you're not maybe sure of, our guys will help you with a needs analysis to understand what you use the internet for, and then we'll obviously take it from there. But you can also contact your ISP. Yes.
Okay, so because you guys are doing megabits per second, but you don't necessarily know how much you use. Yeah. You've got guys at the other end go, all right, do you watch Netflix? Do you game? Do you send large video files?
Correct.
This is what we suggest. Speed-wise, you get.
Yeah.
Balance versus your budget, I guess. Right?
Yeah, and again, we've got an array of products to offer, which is, beautiful. It makes it easy for us to select the right package for you. But obviously, we need your input. We want to make sure that, once you are connected, you're enjoying the experience. We don't want you, to be wanting to Netflix and chill, and we get you to choose a 5 meg line, and then it buffers, every few seconds. If it's something, where you want to stream and stuff, we want to choose the right package for you. We want to give you a 20, a 50, 100 meg. We don't want to give you something that's not going to give you the great user experience that you want.
I know it's a touchy subject, but how much does it cost? How do we know where the price is?
So obviously the pricing is all on our website with all the different internet service providers.
And obviously those prices are all different.
They're all different. It's based on what that service provider is willing to offer to a customer. But our packages range from anything from 469 Rand for your entry level 5 meg package, up to around 1,800 odd Rand for the 1 gigabits per second line, which is the fastest form of internet available. But the pricing, again, we don't determine the pricing. Mm-hmm. The ISPs would control that.
I'm just thinking 5 megabits per second. There's 2 pictures you can send in 1 second.
Yeah, 100%.
2 big pictures.
Correct.
Done.
It's all dependent on, if you're someone that just wants to go on social media, catch up with loved ones over email or WhatsApp, then a 5 meg line is more than sufficient. But, as you start going through all the different things that you can use connectivity or that you can use with your connectivity, such as streaming and gaming, then you start talking about the 20s and the 50 meg lines. But the beauty of it is the option is there for you to choose. You can upgrade and downgrade. Sorry, John, I don't know if I took your question there. Yeah, but you can upgrade and downgrade at any given time. So the freedom of choice is still there, even from a line speed point of view.
So you've signed up with service provider X, and you find out that, I actually am buffering because my kid is watching YouTube and playing games and watching Netflix at the same time, multitasking. I can then phone somebody up and go, how's it just increase me for next month? Yeah,
you would phone your internet service provider. They're your first point of contact. Mm-hmm. They looking after you as an end user. So you phone them, you say, listen, I want a 1 gig. And they'll sort you out straight away.
One day. The technical questions coming through. Somebody wants to know about the ratio. Is it? I remember ADSL was a shared line. Yeah. So if somebody was doing something, and I know the 4G and 5G is like that as well. If everybody's connecting to the one tower, speed slow down. How does your system work?
So from a technical point of view, I'm not very technically inclined, but that's information that we can share with the community. I just don't have it offhand. But typically, your LTE and your old ADSL lines were a shared network, whereas ours, obviously there's different fiber deployments. There's a GPON network, there's an active Ethernet network, but I'd have to get the exact ratio. I don't want to give information that's incorrect here.
But it's fast, is the point.
Oh, no,
it doesn't slow down if a whole lot of people...
No, not at all. So the network is built to a point where you still get your own dedicated lane. So if you're paying for a 20 meg, guarantee you'll get very close to the 20 meg, if not more. In some cases, you'll get like 21 megs. In some cases, you'll get 19. If you are, however, having an issue with your line speed, again, we always encourage you to reach out to your ISP first, and we'll gladly look into the matter. And we do very cool initiatives, all over the place where we double the line speed some months, where, pay for a 20 meg, get a 50 meg. So there's cool things that we're able to do like that as well with our internet service providers. But yeah, I would definitely, if you're having issues with your line speed, contact your ISP and we'll gladly sort it out quickly.
All right, I want to move on to the next slide there. You brushed on at the beginning when you were telling us about some of the advantages of fiber. That first bit telling us how many homes you've done, so we know that works. What is the school initiative?
So the school initiative is something very close to our heart. As much as we're rolling out a fiber network, we want to enable communities and cities like that to be able to build a smart city, and we want the schools to benefit from that fiber as well. So, one of our goals and our aim is to provide every school that falls within our rollout with a free fiber connection. We've got some really cool service providers that are part of that initiative. So if there are any schools, we've engaged with one of the schools already where our POP container is going, so they'll be getting a free connection. But every other school that's within our rollout, we encourage them to reach out to us so we can get you guys connected. And it's just something that's really cool. We're now enabling schools to be able to build smart classrooms, teachers to be able to interact with students remotely, admin staff to be able to do their tasks efficiently, and all of this with just providing that connectivity.
Okay, so any school?
Any school.
Is that Wi-Fi for the school as well, fully installed?
Yeah, so we will install anything from a 200 megabits per second line up to a 1 gigabits per second line, obviously based on the requirements of the school. Free service, free installation. The school doesn't pay a single cent, which is nice. They can then save costs on their connectivity and they can spend it elsewhere. They can, build new classrooms, all those type of things. And we're proud to be part of that. There's so many possibilities, not just from the connectivity point of view as well.
Even if it's $1,000 a month, it's $1,000 a month to spend on something.
100%.
You don't need chalk anymore. What do they use? Those pens or
yeah,
whiteboards?
and schools are getting very fancy. Like schools are even going onto tablets, onto computers, laptops, etc. like that. But you need connectivity. That's the heart of everything. So, yeah, super excited to see what the schools are going to look like in the next 5-10 years with this connectivity now readily available. So very excited, and we want to connect to every single school. So no matter how big, how small. It doesn't even end there. We do also look at charities and stuff. So we encourage everyone that is desperately in need of connectivity to reach out to us so we can see out. Yeah.
Just ask and see what happens.
Exactly.
Let's talk about security at the bottom of that slide as well. Are these security cameras? We've read a lot about those. I know Carte Blanche did a little bit of that as well. Tell us about the security you guys are talking about.
Yeah, again, it plays into building, smart city.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the fiber network providers have just been on connectivity, but there's so much that you can do with that connectivity. We've gone into the space now where we provide fiber points to specific camera nodes. Obviously, we work hand in hand with the municipality, with the CPF, with the SAPS to identify these crime hotspots. We usually put these camera nodes at schools, substations, all those type of things. And we essentially just provide a stable connection to those camera nodes. And those cameras are equipped with the latest AI technology. So the amount that you can do with those cameras is amazing. And again, it benefits the community of Middleburg because we're able to build a smart city, but also a safe city as well that is going to be there for many years once we're gone as well.
A question that's just come in now. You mentioned light. Light needs electricity to be able to work. So we've got load shedding. We know it's happening. Does your fiber work during load shedding?
Yeah, so all of our POP containers that we ever build have backup battery or generators. So our POP will always be powered up as long as you can power the ONT device in your wireless router at home. Okay. So with a generator or a UPS device, you will have internet connectivity. You won't have lights, but you'll definitely have internet because our POP containers are always up and running.
Zonke wants to know, sorry mate, I'm just being moaned at here. Zonke wants to know, can you start taking pre-orders?
Yeah, and Zonke is one of the local WISPs that we've onboarded as an ISP, so they're very excited to be walking this journey with us. So I definitely encourage the community members to reach out to them and get some more information in terms of their packages and stuff. But yeah, we always encourage people when the project starts to really start pre-ordering. There's no cost involved in pre-ordering. All it does is it puts you into the queue. So once the area is live, you're one of the first few people getting installed. The more people that pre-order, the longer it takes us to install all of them. But obviously we'll ramp up capacity to ensure that we can install everyone. But I would definitely encourage you, if you want to be one of the first few people to be installed in Middleburg, definitely reach out to Zonke, find out about their packages and also reach out to the other ISPs as well.
Where are you starting in Middleburg?
So we are starting in Ererand. That's the first part of the build. We're building suburb by suburb. So once we've reached completion in Ererand, we'll then obtain the next wayleaf for the next area, which will then divulge to the community. But we try to build, in partnership or in hand with the municipality to ensure that this project rolls out smoothly. So area runt was the first area that we identified that we're starting this build.
Do you have an idea of that timeline? It, I guess, depends on the government's allowance, it depends on a number of things. Do you have a timeline from when you're going to start there till you go, all right, Middleburg, we're going to move on now?
So we don't have a timeline, but in most cases it will be once we start, reinstatements and we start completing that specific suburb, that's when we'll move on to the next areas, but there's no timeline. Again, we just want to make sure that we build in a way that's not going to disrupt the community of Middleburg too much. And I think building suburb by suburb allows us to control the project and make sure that we look after and reinstate, everything that we do. But there's no time frame, but we'll definitely communicate this, as the project rolls out. And again, that's why that information from the expression of interest survey is so important, so that we can keep you, in the loop in terms of when the next area is starting and which area that is.
Let's talk about the contractors for a while. There have been a number of issues we've seen in the press about who's actually digging these trenches. Yeah. Do you use local people?
100%. Again, as much as the schools initiative is a goal, is a big thing to us, supporting local is also, we've onboarded Zonke, that's a local business, a local WISP, which we're super excited for. And then also with contractors, we would appoint a primary contractor. That primary contractor then allocates a certain amount of work to local SMEs and local labor forces. Definitely something that we strongly believe in, uplifting the community, and not, like I said, not just from a connectivity point of view, but from a skills and development point of view, from a job opportunity point of view. So this 100% a lot of emphasis put on employing local. Local is lacquer.
Local service providers, you mentioned, local contractors as well. There's that last line in that slide that we just saw now, business in a box. Tell us about that.
So business in a box at the moment is a concept that we're working on, where we are looking at launching something where we can basically onboard independent resellers. So if you're someone at home looking for something to keep you busy on the weekend, possibly it's something that we're looking at rolling out, where you then are onboarded as an independent reseller and you can essentially make a living from it. We pay you per sale that you bring in. The beauty of that is, local supports local, so people are more obliged to want to support, their fellow community members. So it's in our best interest as well. But essentially, these local people understand the community. They've got friends. So why not get them involved in helping get their friends and family connected and earning a living from it? So it's an opportunity that we are working on. It's a concept at the moment, but it's definitely going to be a reality in the coming months.
Okay, question coming about a complex. If there are 10, 20, 50, don't know how many complexes there are in Middleburg, but if there are, how do you get fibre to the entire complex?
So obviously with any fibre project, we do quite substantial planning work. So we do already identify these complexes and the unit counts, and we provision fibre for those complexes irrespective of whether we build into the complex or not. But we've got a separate multi-dwelling unit team that looks after complexes, so they'll actually come out there, they'll meet with the body corporate. So we would encourage the body corporate to reach out to us if you are interested in having fibre brought into the complex. And essentially outside of every complex we drop what we call a manhole where the fibre runs to, and then as soon as that body corporate signs to say we're happy for you guys to deploy the network into the complex, we then run the fibre from that manhole into every single unit in that complex, whether it's 50 units, 4 units, 100 units, no matter the size of the complex. Again, fibre for everyone. We want to connect not only the single dwelling units, but also the multi-dwelling units as well.
So each unit in that body corporate or in that complex will have a point?
Yeah, so we treat the complex build the same way we treat building on the outside. We actually would, in most cases, trench to every unit, or we would run it through a pinning solution along the wall, but every single home will get its own home inside of the complex will get its own dedicated line, just like the single dwelling units as well.
Okay, we're running out of time because the president has to speak. He's phoned us now to say, please can you guys wrap it up? Everybody's watching the Middleburg presentation. Anything you want to add at the end?
No, just really looking forward to bringing this fibre network to Middleburg. Looking forward to supporting a lot more local businesses, getting a lot of the schools connected. And we just encourage everyone to reach out to us if there's any questions that they have. No matter the question, we're there to help. We want to be someone that they can talk to. So please reach out to us if there's anything that we can assist with.
numbers, emails, websites down the bottom of the screen there. Also a reminder that the fairies that answer all the questions, we've been taking your questions here as well. They will answer this video, like I said at the beginning. It's going to be here forever. It's going to be on both Facebook and on YouTube as well. So please share this with your friends, with your neighborhoods that might not have been able to watch this now, your friends and neighbors. And if they do have any questions, comments below, and the fairies will be able to answer that and get back to you. But there's the email, telephone number, and the website as well. Everything's there. Bradley Becker, thank you very much for all the information. You guys, that phone number, is that office hour phone number, just so we can.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, don't phone in at 10 o'clock at night.
So our support is 24 hours,
Okay.
but from a sales point of view, it's your normal working hours. But if you're not having any joy with that number, we'll have a WhatsApp group which we'll invite everyone to, which we'll send that link out shortly after this. But if you're not having any joy there, reach out to us on email or on WhatsApp, and we'll get a salesperson to phone you. But our support hours are 24 hours, but sales stops at a certain time.
Bradley Becker, thanks very much for all the information.
Thanks, John.
Hopefully that's answered your questions, and as I said, leave comments below, share it with your friends, hit the share button, hit the like button, and also hit the like on Facebook as well. All the information, they share so much information. We'll see you guys again. Thanks for joining us.